taking time out of what we know is obviously a very busy day. They all are. Congressman Adam Kinzinger on the line with us. Congressman, good morning to you.
Okay, so listen, you go from it's going to be negative 1,000,000 degrees to, on a brighter note, let's talk politics. What a morning.
That's a Sophie's choice, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, double-digit wind chill or what's going on in politics. Well, I got to tell you, Joe and I were talking off the air. You are literally everywhere. I just finished a cross-country road trip, and, I'm sitting in a hotel room in Arizona, and I pop on the TV, and there you are. We're riding through Oklahoma, and I got the radio on, and I hear quotes from Illinois Congressman Adam Kinzinger. You have stirred up, and that's probably not the best term. You have brought about some interest, and maybe in some cases stirred up a hornet's nest in what you have going on, and especially something called Country First. Fill us in on what that is.
Yeah, so first off, I haven't done any media, actually. I just have been following you around.
Okay.
You're listening to.
I appreciate that.
You bet. No, look, here's the thing. I mean, if somebody gets offended by this, then I would encourage them to look at the purpose of this movement. And frankly, if it still offends you, I would look at kind of, what it is that you focus on as a Republican. So all this says is, look, I personally believe it's time that we have to start focusing on an optimistic future. We have to remember our past. We're the party that freed the slaves. We're the party that ended with, that created women's suffrage, that, ended communist tyranny. And all of a sudden, we're a party that really is dealing now in division, in conspiracy theories, in anger. And it's like, how do we get back to, instead, our allegiance is to the country before the party, and not what I think has been in some areas an allegiance to Donald Trump, frankly, before even, what it is the party stands for. And so it's not an attack on anybody. If you take it that way, it's fine. But it's just reminding people of the optimistic past and optimistic future that we can have, because I think that's necessary, in my mind, to save this party in the long term and to save the country in the long term.
I see it described in different ways. I'm looking at some of the thumbnail encapsulation of different pieces that have been out on you, Washington Examiner, Washington Post, and on that. Representative Kinzinger is waging an uphill battle to wrestle the Republican Party away from former President Donald Trump. That seems to be a bit of an overstatement, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, that's how sometimes sensational, headlines are. But I will say, though, this party after January 6th had a choice. And I think rejecting what happened here at the Capitol. Look, I met yesterday with one of the Capitol police officers that was interviewed that really got, he had a mild heart attack and traumatic brain injury and some of those things that occurred. He was talking about the fact that, it was literally muscle on muscle, a medieval battle for the Capitol. And so anybody that wants to try to look at what happened at the Capitol, and I certainly know you guys aren't, but try to minimize that, say it wasn't a big deal, say it was a false flag, say it was somebody else. I got a lot of witnesses that weren't. And what's concerned me is after January 6th, we started to slowly go back to saying, yeah, but you know what? We really need Donald Trump. And that's fine. I want people that supported Trump. But there has got to be more to this party than swearing allegiance to a man. And that, unfortunately, is what I feel like we're trending to. You can like Donald Trump. I voted for him. But at the same time, this party is going to outlive him, outlast him, and we have we stand for something bigger than just the blind allegiance to a man.
Well, and I look at the movement that you have going here, and I also look at what I see are efforts in other sectors seemingly to shut down conservative voices. We see it on social media in so many different cases. And you correct me if I'm wrong, because it seems like I might be putting words in your mouth, but you seem to be going along with, if we continue down the route that we're going on, this effort to silence, muzzle, and keep us locked up and quiet is going to do nothing but intensify.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is, we have to be treated fairly with everybody. We all agree on that. But the other thing is we talk about unity in this party, and I think that's very important. But unity means if we actually want to win elections, let's keep in mind, we just lost the House, the Senate, and the presidency. If we want to win elections, we're going to need to take people that believe like I do, a wholehearted conservative that maybe isn't as big of a fan of Donald Trump after, the election and when the theories of a stolen election came out. because to me, I think telling the truth is most important than anything. We also need people that are considered the hardcorest, Donald Trump supporters, folks on the right and center. If we want to actually be a big tit party that wins, and so that's all I'm saying is let's put the country first. Let's welcome everybody to this party without a litmus test, as long as you believe generally in freedom, and go out and win and do it for this country. Because then we can fight fights like, censorship against the right that, shouldn't happen.
When you came forth with this, and we talked, I think right after the impeachment vote, you were one of 10 on the Republican side who went with the impeachment of the president, and you talked about, you knew you were going to take slings and arrows for this, but this was a matter of principle and position for you to take. How has this been received? What kind of backlash? What kind of backclap? What have you gotten out of this?
I'll be honest, it's been actually really good, and the people that I thought would, get the text or whatever about, upset about impeachment or whatever, those are expected. But actually a lot of people that I thought would be upset look at this, this country first thing and say, wow, that's actually pretty great. And I mean, I've heard from a lot of people that are disaffected Republicans that, maybe voted for Biden this year, but voted Republican down ticket because they just aren't a Democrat, but they just didn't want, Donald Trump this year. Or people that voted for Donald Trump that are like, look, we need to refocus the fact that this is not a party that's based around a man. This is a party that is based around an ideal and around God. And I think that, I've heard from a ton of people. And so quite honestly, it's been pretty amazing. And I started this just as I want to put a video out there, and it accidentally became a movement. It's been pretty crazy.
For those who want to see it, by the way, countryfirst.com, COUNTRY, the number one ST.com, and you can see it all right there, and take your time about doing it, and it's not curated, so you're not forcing yourself through everyone else's commentary on this one. You take a listen to it, you take a watch, and you see what you think for yourself. Congressman, is it safe to say that the GOP is a party at war? I mean, we heard that a lot over the past few years revolving around the Democrats, but I'm seeing it more and more in print this time, that the party itself now, it's a battle for the soul of it, and you could look at it as being a party that's at war with itself. Is that fair?
I think it's a party that has an identity crisis, and I don't think it's uncommon when, if you think about it, whenever there's a president that the party is kind of around, and then that president leaves, the party then is in a struggle for what its identity is. The Democrats had that. I mean, when Barack Obama left, there was a fight between the more moderate elements and the AOCs. And so I don't think it's necessarily a party at war with itself, but I do think there's a big identity crisis. And I quite honestly think that this is a crisis we need to handle and wrestle with now, because the closer we get to an election, it'll actually have lasting damage on that.
And for those who are sitting back worried, okay, is this going to be a reach across the aisle to do the things that the Democrats want to do, and then we end up getting screwed over by Nancy Pelosi and outthought and all this? This isn't a joining hands and singing Kumbaya with the Democrats.
Not at all. And I've said, look, all this idea of like compromise means we give them what they want. No, but we do need to go back to being a loyal opposition. So an opposition party, but that is loyal to the country, that does not resort to anger all the time and painting division as a way to attract people. Let's attract people with a positive view of the future of this country that we believe in. And I think that could be pretty powerful. So, it's just, and by the way, I got it. The Democrats don't do this. Well, that doesn't mean that we should model our behavior after the Democrats because they do something. We still win half the elections when we act above board. Let's do that. Let's be that honorable party that, maybe the media doesn't always treat us fairly, but somehow we still manage to win all these elections because our ideas are what's cutting through.
Where does Country First go from here? I know people can go and look at the video and see what you have to say. What's the plan down the line for this?
We take this day by day because, again, about 2 days ago, this was just going to be a video, and the outpouring's been incredible. So I'm foreseeing, building a broader movement with chapters of people involved, helping candidates is part of it, but also recruiting people and just getting the message out there that, our party doesn't have to be dark and sad and divisive and angry. Our party can be the party that shines light and tells the truth and wins elections again. And that's the hope. And every day I think the mission will change in a positive way depending on what that demand is.
I know the last couple of times that you and I have talked, it's been singular of topic. We were regarding the impeachment, regarding where we're going from here. What haven't I asked you just in our visit here this morning, other than what's going on with Country First, that you'd like people to know about?
Yeah, look, I'd like people to just know that, generally, let's talk the politics side of it. The party has a strong foundation, and the foundation of this country is really strong. And I think it's kind of that moment where we all need to just take a deep breath. Maybe we don't realize how close we actually got to doing some real damage to our democracy, and say, okay, are we going to leave our kids a democracy that's healthier or sicker than the one we inherited? And what can we do to make sure it's one that's healthier? And I think treating each other well and fighting hard politically and taking it out of the realm of dark conspiracies. Jesus said one thing: love your neighbor as yourself and love the Lord your God. And he talked a lot about truth. And I think if we follow those principles, we'll be a party that can't ever be beaten again.
Congressman, as always, I know how busy you are. I appreciate you taking time out of your day for us.
Love it, man. Thanks. Take care.
We'll look forward to our next chat. That's Congressman Adam Kinzinger.